statement, and then we'll follow with questions.
Good win Saturday. Felt like it was a tough game. Give San Antonio a lot of credit. It was certainly a good fight. I felt like we played well. We certainly can play better, but I felt like offensively and defensively we did some positive things. We created some turnovers defensively. We made some explosive plays offensively. Just felt like on the whole it was an overall good team win. Now move on to the next one. Again, another tough Conference USA opponent. Western Kentucky's got an outstanding football team, and we know same old. Another good Conference USA team. Got to be ready to play.
Questions for Coach?
Talk about Western.
Just really a well-coached, athletic football team. Of course, I think on both sides of the ball, they do a great job. So again, it's gonna be a war.
Foul on Shannon. Did they tell you, was it intent, contact? What was? Because it seemed like contact was on Booth. Was it an intent foul at that point?
Well, yeah. Just I thought it was more of a. I guess there was some contact head to head. Look, I was on the field. I was kind of thought, well, it looked like a shoulder, but you can't tell for sure. But that was the call. It was confirmed upstairs, so it is what it is.
Now, how long was he out?
My understanding.
First half, I think.
First half.
Is it first half?
I think
Yeah.
so. I don't know that for
I
sure.
don't know that for a fact. I need to
You won't have him all 4 quarters.
what's that?
You won't have him all 4 quarters, though.
I'm not positive about that. We'll find out. I gotta find out. It used to be. I'm gotta make sure
I'll double check the league office.
yeah. Guess that was early third.
Jay, are you a coach? Are you going to make the team aware of kind of what all's going on in the standings of Conference USA? Do y'all talk about it, or do you just go about your business?
We'll count these poker chips up at the end. I mean, you can't do that in football. I mean, everybody knows where you are. I think all teams are aware of that. We're human beings. They see where they're at, but we know it's a big game, and you got to handle business week to week in football. And that's, it's everybody gets tired of coach speech, but that's the way it is. And we've got a tough opponent this week. We've got a tough opponent next week. We've got tough opponents every week. It seems like our schedule has not been a breeze. Every week there's a tough opponent, and we've played a lot of them on the road. So we know we got a big challenge.
Can you tell me from fall camp to today what you think your team is most improved on?
That's a good question. I just think we are a football team. I think coaches talk about this. I know I like to see this in a football team. I like to see a football team kind of get better as the year goes on. I think we're putting games together better offensively and defensively. Earlier in the year, I thought we might have a good defensive game and okay offensive game. Then the next week we had a great offensive game and didn't play as well defensively. And I think as the season's worn on, I'm seeing a team that's slowly putting the phases together, and that's what we need to do to be successful. Anytime you play a tough schedule, and I always talk about Conference USA. I mean, there's always a lot of winning teams with that are in the league, and so we've got to make sure we play a complete game, and that's something I think we're doing a little bit better. Are we perfect right now? No. Have we played the perfect game? No. But I think we're getting better as the season's going on.
Last home game of the regular season. Talk about that being for your senior, 8 seniors?
Yeah, it's a special day for the seniors because it's the last time they get to go out in the rock, and it's an emotional day. It's an emotional day for me. As a matter of fact, at San Antonio, one of our seniors from a couple of years ago came up and got on the bus, and we hugged, and it's an emotional time because I think you don't really think about it as a football player. I don't think they'll really understand it until a few years down the road. His coaches will tell them, it's the last time to go out on the rock, and they know it is, but I think it kind of really hits them about a year or two later. But it's a special time for the young men, and it's just a great time to honor them. Hopefully we'll have a good crowd, and just to honor these seniors. They've done a great job, and they've represented the University of Southern Mississippi so well. So hope we have a big crowd out to honor them, and just appreciate all that these young men have done for our program.
I'm gonna ask Buster this in a minute, but I
Okay.
want your take too. Quez has his most yards he's ever had as a wide receiver here, 921. But he's done it on 33 fewer catches. Can
Yeah.
you tell us how good Quez Watkins is?
Well, Quez to me, and I've said this from get-go, he's a playmaker and he has big playability. I think that one of the true advantages we have is, and I've said this all year long, not only is Quez a really good football player, we got a lot of other really good football players out there too. So what happens is we're fine. If you want to go take Quez, that's great. Go take Quez away. Double team, do whatever you want. But the problem is defensively, I'm no defensive coach, is you got 3 other guys on the other side that are big time players too. So what happens is I think that allows receivers to at times max out capability because it's just like the kickoffs for Louisiana Tech. We had Jalen had to start off with a great year running the kickoffs back, and I was the NFL Network interviewed me and said, well, aren't you worried they're going to start kicking away? And we said, well, to be honest with you, DeMichael Harris is the guy that we signed to be the kickoff returner. And they looked at me like I was crazy. Then they kicked off to DeMichael Harris, and he went 105 yards or whatever it was for a touchdown. And I'm like, and I said this in the middle of the season. I mean, I got about 6 or 7 guys I can put on the line. I don't know which one's the fastest. I really don't. And so, I'd be a liar if I knew who the fastest receiver was. I got candidates there that could, and I got some, it just, so you don't, it is what it is. But I do think that what Quez has done a great job of, getting back to the question, is he's made explosive plays. And that's what we expect Quez to do. And I just think he's an outstanding football player. I think he's got a tremendous talent and potential. So, again, kudos to him and Jack, and don't ever forget the offensive line. Those guys are doing a great job too, because football is a team game.
Have you seen teams doing crazy stuff now to try to stop him? I mean, are you seeing double teams or crazy zones to his side?
You'll see some, but the problem is when they do that, they get hurt with the other guys. So I mean, it's really, to be honest with you, it's something we really don't worry about. I mean, if we only had Quez out there and nobody else, I'd be, oof. We got to move him around, but we really don't. We just say, hey, let's play ball. And I really felt like going into the season, our receiving core was, and I said this in August, it was kind of a strength that I've been coaching a long time. I don't know if I've ever had the speed across the board at all positions. So, and all those guys have made big plays. They really have. And there's a couple of guys that hadn't had as many touches that, to be honest with you, I thought in August would have explosive years. So at the end of the day, there's only one football. Sometimes you can't get it around as much as you'd like to everybody.
Can you talk about McLaurin? He made a great catch to keep the drive alive in the game. Maybe not had as many catches, but it seems like he has the ability to make the big play.
We felt like McNeil was, again, I think McNeil's a big time player, and he was injured most of last year, and he, Neal, to me, was probably the #1 junior college receiver in Mississippi 2 years ago. I thought he was just an explosive playmaker. So, again, Neal's a guy that's made big plays and big catches, and he's a guy that I think is just an outstanding football player. He's got a great combination of size and speed.
Anything else?
Having such a good year, almost certainly to go to a bowl, can you sense from the players a little extra pickup in their step or anything?
Alan, I kind of like, this team goes to work every week, they've been very businesslike, and I think they understand our season isn't over. We have goals out there and things that we want to accomplish, and I think they understand that, we got to go to work, and now's not the time to feel good about anything, now's the time to keep practicing and put your nose down and go to work. And again, we got a big game this weekend. We got an outstanding football team coming to town, so we got to have our A game.
Anything else?
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.